Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I can't hear you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is still afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. So nobody corrected me. You're all very polite. It's wonderful to be here, and particularly be here with Consul General Asaf Zamir, and to, as he said, to be in a community that really personifies what we really need in New York, which is having the Jewish community and non-Jewish communities of all stripes, of all colors, of all faiths, of all ethnicities live side by side. And to live side by side, thank God, with positive and peaceful relationships. There's one person in this room who certainly lives up to that standard on a day-to-day basis. First, when she was a city council member, and then as a public advocate, and currently as the Attorney General of the state of New York. It is my honor on behalf, and by the way, I really shouldn't be doing this introduction. It should be done by Anita Sperlin, who Attorney General James will refer to as a brother from another mother.
Yes.
So ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause and welcome the Attorney General of the state of New York, Mr. James.
Council for 10 years, and as you know, there was peace in the community during those 10 years because of the camaraderie and because we continued to have events like this where we brought individuals together to talk about our differences, but also to talk about our humanity and our similarities. Yesterday, I happened to be in Buffalo with the Vice President as we funeralized the last victim of that horrific and horrible incident in Buffalo, where an individual who was fed a daily diet of hate decided to shoot 10 people who simply wanted to shop. This was a woman who was in her late 80s, who simply went to a grocery store to get some food for her husband who had a stroke, who was in a nursing home. I also went to the funeral of a young man who was a former police officer who was retired, who was working as security at the Top supermarket. And he was the individual who first encountered this sick, demented individual. That young gentleman was laid to rest last Wednesday. And then we find, unfortunately, 19 innocent babies, innocent children, shot down, and 2 teachers. Let us pray that our nation can come together. Let us pray that we will no longer know hate. Let everyone know that there is no room for hate in Crown Heights, in Brooklyn, in New York City, and all throughout the state of New York. Let everyone know that love will conquer hate. Let everyone know that we are one. We are all God's children. Let everyone know that we are all part of one humanity. Let everyone know that we are all part of one family. Let everyone know that we will stand up to individuals that divide us, and that there's more that we have in common than anywhere else. And let everyone know about the history and the love and the support of this wonderful community that I adore and will always defend, Crown Heights. Thank you.
Generally common when the Attorney General speaks that we all get up on our feet. But she lifted us up not only with the message, but also with the passion behind the message. And she doesn't just talk the talk, she walks the walk. And she is the one who really stands with us within the framework of the state of New York to defend all of us and the concerns that we have. But we also have someone who defends us right here in the borough of Brooklyn in Kings County. And that's the Kings County District Attorney, Eric Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here and following upon what our great Attorney General has said, the issue of bringing community together. And this morning, as we're celebrating Memorial Day weekend, the Crown Heights JCC organized an event. And as you look around the room, you see what love is about. It's about bringing people who come from different communities together under the umbrella of this organization to fight for the things we all care about. And those things are public safety, it's our families, it's the health of our community, and it's moving forward as one voice as we seek justice for everyone in our country. And so let's bring our hands together for the Crown Heights JCC for organizing this event for all of us today. As Attorney General Tish James said, our obligation is to keep our community safe and fight for the things that matter. And as your district attorney, each and every morning I wake up with a fire in my belly to make sure that these communities that I serve and this community right here is safe and protected. And anyone who dare hurt the community will understand that we will do everything in our power to hold them accountable and to make sure that no one else dares to do the same. So God bless all of you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, District Attorney Gonzalez. I want to acknowledge sitting on the dais the Deputy Consul General of the State of Israel, Israel Nitzan. As well as here to my right, the Commissioner of the Community Assistance Unit, Fred Kreisman. And it's now my pleasure to call upon the Executive Director of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, Rabbi Eli Cohen.
Thank you so much, Michael. And welcome to Crown Heights. You know, Crown Heights is a very unique community. A very unique community. Because there was a time, about 50 years ago, when there was a massive upheaval in the community. And the residents of the community at that time were running to the suburbs by the hundreds and thousands. And there was a lot of turmoil. And there was one visionary, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who said, no, there are elderly people in the community, there are institutions built in this community. This is not a community that can just run away. It's an obligation, a religious obligation to stay and to build. And this is the vision that the Rebbe had. And fast forward to 1990, when things were a little tumultuous here, and so many of you remember the events of 1990. And the Rebbe said to then Mayor David Dinkins, of blessed memory, he said, there are no two sides. We're all in one community under one God. And this has been the byline of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, and even long before I was involved directly with in the council itself, but obviously as a community resident, Rabbi Chanina Sperlin and others who worked very, very hard. And it's very important to remember among those people, and we have many of our partners here today, I'm going to mention a couple, but there was one great partner who passed away exactly a year ago. It was the anniversary of his passing was in the last couple of days. His name was James Caldwell. And James Caldwell was a giant of a person. He was the precinct council chairman for the 77th precinct on the other side of Eastern Parkway. And he, together with another couple of very important partners, the Reverend Clarence Norman, pastor of the First Baptist Church, and Robert Matthews, who was the vice chairman of the Community Board A, they were available, and both of them are recently departed. They were able, at a moment's notice, to gather together whenever something happened in the community to rise to the occasion. And many times it was with our Attorney General then as City Council member, and later as she was public advocate, who would initiate something to say we've got to stand together against whatever the issue was, or for whatever the issue was at that moment of bringing community together. And so, over the past couple of years, we've formed a coalition. We call it One Crown Heights. And many of the people in the room today are part of this coalition. And I want to point out one person specifically and that is Brian Saunders, sitting over here in the middle. Because Brian has picked up the mantle of James Caldwell. He has organized amazing events already in the community. We just in a very short time last year, the National Night Out. And in terms of being a partner, working together with, of course, our CEO who's going to be on it later, Tony Brown, and with a whole host of people in the community. Cecil Henry from our clergy precinct council is here too. And they are really the people who make this community be really one Crown Heights. One Crown Heights, where we're all together on the same page. And every year in the summer we have an event where we bring together people from all over the community. We have right now basketball going on, children playing together, and it's really very something special. And there are other people, of course, there's one legend. You walk down the streets of this community, and there's one person who, if you're walking with him, every second person says, hello, hello, hello. Who is it? Richard Green. Richard wasn't able to make it today. But Richard was there then, and he continues to be with us now, working together to make sure that this is a unified community. So, we want to welcome a couple of people who just walked in. Clarence Dorman, who just mentioned his father, and that's why I want to mention him now. And also, our Congresswoman Clarke. Thank you. We're also being joined by members of the community boards. They're also very, very important to us. We have Miss Ursa Weatherspoon, who's the chair of Board A. We have I don't know if he's here yet, but Fred Baptiste is supposed to be. Oh, there you are. Fred Baptiste is here from Community Board 9, and Nancy Irwine, the district manager. And Hector Robinson is here from the Community Council. And many, many, many of our partners who work together with us. I also want to mention the Jewish organizations that have stood with us. We mentioned JCRC of New York. We have here representatives also of UJA Federation. We have here people from ADL, from the AJC, and of course the Simon Wiesenthal Center that we're honoring Michael Cohen as the Eastern Director of the Wiesenthal Center. I also want to mention, as we're talking about partners that stood with us, and we mentioned, of course, the Consul General and the Israeli Consulate is also a very important partner in all of this. And then I want to talk for a minute about our police department. Because, contrary to popular belief, our police department here in New York has been central to bringing the community together. The role of the police department, through its community affairs, through its efforts and outreach to the community, to make sure that every single part of the community is heard. I think that if the people who have been leading the charge against our police, and with the different slogans that they have and the different approaches that they have, if they really knew what's been going on in New York City for the last 30 years, literally, in terms of community relations, in terms of building deep connections in the community, those guys in the light blue shirts. And in our own precinct we have Mike Barada and Officer Charles, we have Officer Stravinsky and Wallen. We're talking about officers who are every day, their job is to make sure that the community stays together. And to make sure that every voice in the community is heard. If they knew what was going on really the way we know what's going in New York City, they would not have been criticizing the police in New York. They would have been boosting up the police in New York as an example of what police departments all over the country could be and should be. And that's why, as part of our program today, we're honoring 2 commanding officers from our police department, and we're happy to have our chief and others here. We'll also, there's another part of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council I want to touch on for a minute, and that is our social service work. During the pandemic, when everybody was closed, and when nobody could go out, we actually closed for 1 day. The day after Passover, I said, you know what? I don't know what's happening. It was a Friday. Passover ended Thursday. So we closed for 1 day. And we reopened, obviously not with a full, a black Toyota Sienna, and a gray Volvo blocking the parking lot next door. Asleep to take the children out. That's a little, you got to do that when you're in the mic, right? So, so we continued working, even in the time before Passover, when the office was sort of half closed because people were sick and people were recovering and so on. But we still had to make sure that everybody had their food for Passover, and they couldn't come to us, we had to deliver it to them. And we worked with a number of volunteers in the community to make sure that people had what they needed for the holiday. And then, immediately after Passover, we began an increase, 300% increase in distribution in our food pantry. We went from serving about 100 people a week, 100 families a week packages, to serving about 300 families a week. And at that time, we needed a lot of volunteers, because the way that it worked till then, you would come up to the door, there would be crowds around, and everybody was waiting to be served. And Jeremy Nicholson, who we're honoring today, came to the forefront to make sure that it should be organized in such a way that everybody could be served. There could be space between the people, the way that it needed to be at that time. It was done outdoors, and that needed a lot of volunteers to prepare the packages, to control the line, to bring the food out to the people, and for the seniors and family people and other people who literally could not walk out of their house, to make sure that it was brought directly to them. So that's why we're also honoring Jeremy Nicholson as part of this program today, because he was the hero who made that happen. And he's now passing it on to others, but he came in today with support to receive an award, and we're really honored to have him, and that will all be later in the program. Yes. I want to also acknowledge some other people who came in. We have a couple of our leaders of our Jewish Community Councils who are here. We thank them for participating. We have also representatives of elected officials who were not able to be here. We did realize, by the way, that we were making this on a holiday weekend. And that's why we understand that some people did have travel plans before. Some people, like Jason from APAC, he canceled his plans to be here. And Jason Capel, I'm sorry. Jason from APAC, Jason Capel. I see Penny Hyken here, he also canceled his plans to be here. Shia Rubinstein is here from Marine Park, he canceled his plans to be here. Penny Hyken, who is representing our comptroller, city comptroller. Brad was traveling, but he made Penny stay home. He's supposed to be up in the mountains somewhere during his weekend, but he came here instead. So I'm sorry, Penny, but I know you're very. And Rabbi Needham is here. There you are. We also appreciate always our fantastic always comes everything. And we also and many others who should be mentioned, and if I remember, I will mention them. I do want to mention something very important, and that is that we have representation here from SUNY Downstate. State University of New York has become a tremendous partner with us in making sure that the people of this community's health should be taken care of. And we're really hoping that this is going to expand over time, and there will be more and more opportunity for us to work with SUNY Downstate to not only to heal the sick, but prevention and taking care of young people and so on in a way that, so we appreciate all the people that came here. SUNY Downstate. Oh, also we have here a Deputy Commissioner of the Office of Emergency Management, Ira Tenenbaum. So we appreciate your participation. That's so important. And we also appreciate having a Jacob Berman from the Jewish Action Alliance Department. And I see over here Jelani, many other important people. If I didn't call your name, it's my eyesight or my memory that's hurting, not your importance. I want to recognize also Mandy Kalbach from New Jersey, who's here. And we have over here, just walked in, Vinny Ringo. I see you, yes? And that's right. And the reason I'm delaying, by the way, as I mentioned all the people, yes, I just saw David Greenfield over here. So David Greenfield is here, Executive Director of the Met Council on Jewish Polity. Tremendous network. Interesting statistic I want to share with you as the governor's arriving, and that is that I just checked our audited report for this year, and it's not quite published, but it's just about to be published. Our organization gave out last year $640,000 in direct assistance to people living in this community. That's direct assistance. Number one in that is food. But number two in that is air conditioners, believe it or not. The governor has a program. Oh, hi. The governor has a program where they give air conditioners to needy families because, as you know, it's getting hotter in New York and it's getting harder to live. People have a hard time breathing without air conditioning. They don't sleep well without an air conditioner. And our organization has given out hundreds of air conditioners through the governor's program. So we appreciate that, and that's part of the assistance that we're giving. And also, many other types of scholarships for camps for needy children. If anyone wants to help sponsor this year's scholarships, we still have quite a bit of need in the community. And other important things where we're giving direct help to people. But that doesn't count the indirect help. For example, coming out of COVID, the state, again thanks to our governor, gave out money to people who had money to help people who had accumulated arrears in rent during COVID. Our organization helped those people apply and receive tremendous assistance in the thousands and thousands of dollars to catch up on their rent so that they could become current for and continue to live in their homes. Secondly, homeowner assistance for people who couldn't pay their mortgage, who couldn't pay their water, and couldn't pay their taxes. And again, the governor came through and there was money for that. And also, and the water program, by the way, is still ongoing. And also, there is utility assistance. So there are many people who got behind in their utility bills, and through the governor's program, we were able to help them pay their bills. So there are many, many, many different ways in which this community partners with the state, and we'll later talk about the city. Oh, we're joined by our speaker, the Honorable Adrian Harris. And the partnership with the state, and later we'll talk about the city, is just a tremendous partnership that allows us to get so much accomplished, and we appreciate all the assistance. I just want to share one thing with you before we introduce the governor to say a few words. And that is that the governor is somebody who has shown her love and appreciation for this community. Forever will be etched in my thoughts when she came and spoke for our Beth Rivka High School, not as governor, but as lieutenant governor at that time. And she really shared with the girls, the several hundred girls on Crown Street, and she shared with them how they could be something really great, and how important it is for them to be engaged and involved. And it was just an amazing, and the thing you saw was that the girls responded and they asked questions. You know, high school kids, to get them to open up is not easy, but they did. They asked intelligent questions, they asked some difficult questions, and the governor responded, and it was really a pleasure to see. And the governor has come several times to the community. She's walked around Kingston Avenue and seen our small store owners and so on. So she's somebody who really understands the community. And one thing that's very on my mind, and I want to share it, I know it's not directly the governor's responsibility, but I know she will be a partner with this, and that is that this community has a private education system educating thousands upon thousands of children. And that yeshiva system is central to the existence of this community. And the governor has been amazing in giving support to that community in terms of the material support that we need. And right now we're asking her, I know she's sympathetic to it, but I'm asking her to be even more of a partner for the spiritual support that this community needs. Unfortunately, there was some legislation passed and there's some regulations that have been written that will severely hamper the ability of our yeshiva system to be able to function the way it always has. And if you want to understand what education means to this community, the Rebbe, Rabbi Schneerson, that we know is the seventh in the chain of Rebbe's. Several of his predecessors went to jail because they stood up for the pure education that we give our children, the values that we want to share with our children, the study of ancient texts that is part of the tradition that we all cherish. And that is under threat right now by these new regulations that are being proposed in Hochul. And we're imploring our government to stand with us and to be part of that battle to see to it that this pure education that is integral for this community should be able to be preserved and enhanced and strengthened and not undermined by the ability of some guy to pick up a phone and make complaints and trigger a whole investigation and all of the things. All of the things that are still being, even though there's some improvements, that is still part of the new regulations. So now, without further ado, I want to call up our friend, our governor, Kathy Hochul, to say a few words.
Good afternoon, friends, and I'm so delighted to be back here in Crown Heights. This community council and the collaboration across geographic boundaries, ethnic boundaries, racial boundaries, religious boundaries, to see how this community comes together for a common purpose, to lift all people up, is really a model that I want the rest of the nation to see, because everyone here knows this. 30 years ago, our nation had a different perception of what life was like in Crown Heights, right? And the way this community has to come together is a powerful testament to me that in 2022, when we need signs of hope, just look at what has happened with the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council and all the outreach you have done to make sure that we are inclusive and to honor the traditions that are steeped in this community. And yes, one of those great traditions, places I've visited many times, is the education system that's delivered through our yeshivas. So I want to continue to protect community and also to use state resources to support, even more so, 3 times more than the past, money for STEM, money so these kids can have an education in addition to the secular, but also to protect these facilities. My God, if what happened in Texas is a wake-up call, that there are forces of evil and hate out there, that we need to protect our most vulnerable, our children simply going off every day to get an education. So I'm committed to making sure that you can have even more insecurity grants to protect people not just on the subways and in the synagogues where they worship on Zoom, but particularly our schools. And I want to thank the leadership here. Rabbi Sperlin has, he asked me probably 47 times if I was coming to this breakfast. I have the text chain to show it. But I said I would not let you down. You know, this is important to me. If it's important to you, it's important to me. And I thank you for embracing me since 2014, and the first time we walked the streets and went to the fish markets and had a chance to explore the uniqueness of this community that needs to be preserved and protected. And I thank you and also Rabbi Cohen for everything you've done, will continue to do. I also have extraordinary partners. And this one, I talk about, it's like opening another wound again. It's trying to heal. But just yesterday, 24 hours ago, our Attorney General and I joined Vice President Harris in the final service for one of the 10 Buffalonians, my neighbors, literally 10 minutes from where I live, in a funeral service. Now, this was an 86-year-old mother of the former fire commissioner for the city of Buffalo, who also was New York State's head of Homeland Security in that district. He is pained by the knowledge that he couldn't even protect his own mother without grocery shopping. This community, that community, our collective community, everybody's hurting. But before we even had the chance to bury the last person from that racist assault on people because of the color of the skin, his words, not mine, he targeted this community. After being radicalized by the views of white supremacists from around the globe, they shared this hate speech and these horrible philosophies online that spread like wildfire. That's another whole issue, because I've asked our Attorney General to lead the charge to see what can be done to make sure this doesn't happen. I cannot put it in anyone's better hands who's more compassionate, but also use the political office to do justice to these people. But even before the final person's buried, we're talking about now burying 19 children and 2 teachers. Do I have to keep the flags at half-mast forever in New York State? I haven't even lifted them from Buffalo. I got to lower them for Texas. We have to stop the insanity. And I thank the elected officials, the people like Yvette Clarke, for standing up in Washington to call out the people who just don't understand that your right to own a gun, a military-style assault weapon, should not supersede the right of people to stay alive. Because that is what has happened. Or the right to worship where you want to stay alive when you go to a church in South Carolina. Or go to worship at the Tree of Life Synagogue. Or to be able to celebrate traditions in Muncie, New York. Or to go to school in Little, Texas. I think we've reached our breaking point. I assure you that the leadership you see here is not going to turn the page until the next crisis and become desensitized or almost dehumanized to the shock of what we've been experiencing. This is a national call to action. And we need to shame out those who will not take the steps necessary to have background checks. Our Senate, our House members did the right thing. just background checks so we can know if someone is having their brain infiltrated with these thoughts they might act on. But also, who thinks that an 18-year-old who isn't old enough to buy a beer should be able to buy an AR-15 on their birthday when they turn 18? So we're going to change that as well. And find all the ways, because if there's a loophole, we're going to close it, like the ghost guns. If there's a law that needs to be strengthened, we're going to strengthen it. If there's a way we need to get ahead of the criminals, we will do that as well. So I hadn't intended to make this a speech about this, but this is what's laying down my heart right now. But I use that sense of pain as a galvanizing force moving forward. But I also want to leave you with one more message. This is just not about the high-profile massacres that are talked about in the news nonstop right now until the next one. This is also about protecting our young men in particular who are losing their lives to gun violence on the streets every day in Brooklyn, Harlem, the Bronx, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse. This insanity has to end as well. And I'm deploying the resources of our state police to be out there literally on the borders, capturing these weapons before they come up from Tennessee and Georgia and Virginia, and even a place you can buy assault weapons and magazines that are high capacity, like she used on a Bevan in Pennsylvania, right across the border. So if I feel a little angry, I am. I admit it. I just went to 3 churches and prayed the Lord to heal that side of my heart. But it's that other side of my heart that isn't healing just yet, because we're losing too many our fellow friends and family and citizens. So I'm here to honor those who have accepted the responsibility of public service in different ways. It's not always elective office. Our police officers, our public servants, they know what I'm talking about. They're out there every single day, suited up, ready to do whatever they have to do to protect the 71st and 77th precincts that we honor today. I honor our speaker, who's got a tough job in the city council, but there's no one more ready for this job than Ann. I honor her today. Every male leader needs a strong woman whispering in your tongue what to do. And that would be Ingrid Lewis-Martin. Tell them right there. Keep all of us honest. I want to thank you for honoring my good friend Ingrid. Joel Eisendorf, our senior advisor to the mayor as well. Mayor's got a lot of his team members being honored here today. I'm going to honor my team too. I mean, I have some really sharp people as well. And Isaac Wurzberger for all his work with philanthropy is so important. So all of us find our paths to public service, whether it's this organization, which is powerful and has an impact to fight for people, especially during this pandemic, how you rose up and took care of people in need, or elective office. But we leave here nourished by the friendship, nourished by the food, nourished in the knowledge that Crown Heights showed the world how you do it. And after being brought down and hurting our reputation hurt 31 years ago because of what happened in our streets, this community rose up in a powerful way. I want you to own that legacy and to share it with the rest of the world that needs the healing that we experienced here. So thank you for the privilege of letting you see what real empowerment and action looks and feels like. It's no longer just thoughts and prayers. This is what real action looks like, what you're doing here every single day. And I'm so honored to be the governor of a state that celebrates each other's individuality and their diversity and their rights to practice the religion they choose to and the way they choose to without interference, and to celebrate our racial diversity, ethnic diversity. This is not the American dream, this is the New York dream that we cherish here. And I thank all of you for being part of it. Thank you for inviting me.
Notice Governor, all women leaders and Eric.
one big shot. Michael, go over there with this. Okay, everybody look at the photographer. All my friends right here. Right here. Michael, you like it? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Governor, for your very meaningful words and for your leadership. I mentioned to the Deputy Counsel General, just take a look at who we have here on the podium. All the leaders that we've introduced so far who are sitting on the podium, other than the DA, are women, and it really is testament to where the state of New York is, where the city of New York is. And speaking of the city of New York, it's now an opportunity to acknowledge the extraordinary role that the governor spoke about that is being played by the city council. The governor referenced, sitting on the podium, of course, we have the speaker who I'll introduce in a moment, but we also have 3 city council members who are with us currently. I want to acknowledge them. They can please stand when I mention their names. Councilmember Crystal Hudson. Councilmember Rita Joseph. And Councilmember Chi Austin. And it is now So I'm going to first ask Councilmember Hudson, before we grab your glass of water. Councilmember Hudson, can you please come up here and share with us some thoughts about what you are doing here in the community representing Crown Heights? Councilmember Crystal Hudson, everybody.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you can see me over this podium. But good afternoon, everyone. My name is Crystal Hudson. I'm the council member here representing Crown Heights, Prospect Heights, Fort Greene, Clinton Hill, and over the Bed-Stuy. See lots of familiar faces in the room, lots of community leaders. And I think, as the governor mentioned, this is what the beauty and unity and diversity of Brooklyn is. It's what it looks like. This community has come a very, very long way, a far way, and we have a very long way to keep going, to marching towards true justice, freedom, equity for everyone, no matter what you look like, no matter who you worship, no matter where you come from. I'm really proud to represent this community, and I look forward to continuing the work that we've all done together as we move forward. So thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to invite Rita Joseph to please come and share a few words with us. Councilmember Rita Joseph, give it up for us. Chair of the Education Committee of the City Council. And you're back first council.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Councilmember Rita Joseph, and as you mentioned, I am the Chair of Education. 22 years in the DOE teaching our children, and now I'm in the council representing them. Thank you so much for having me. I just wanted to say a few words about my speaker today. It's an honor to be here with you, colleagues in government, but importantly, our Speaker, Adrienne Adams. As the first Black woman ever to lead the council, and the majority woman-led council speaker, Adams is chartering a path of history. Our diversity is our strength. And Speaker Adams ensure we lead with our diversity and continue to fight for equity. It's an honor to be here in Crown Heights. We will continue to lift our communities up in the council and ensure hate has no place in our city. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Joseph. And now Councilmember Chiase. Councilmember, please, give a round of applause. Cheers.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chi Osei. I'm a council member representing the 36th district, which includes the great neighborhood of Bedford-Stuyvesant in northern Crown Heights. And I succeeded the world's tallest politician in the world, Robert Kennedy Jr. And you may know me as the world's second tallest politician in the world. That's a joke, because I'm short. I want to talk a little bit about hate and our shared fight against hate. We've seen anti-Semitic hate crimes increase by 133% in this country. At the same time, we've seen gunfire and those shot and killed by guns in Crown Heights and Bed-Stuy nearly on a weekly basis. In order for us to heal as a community, we must do it together. It's something that we have done in the past, and it will take great leadership like those right here in this room to work on healing our neighborhood. So I'm so honored to be a council member representing the 36th district, to be led by our great speaker, Adrian Adams, and also to work alongside my colleagues, Councilmember Crystal Hudson and Rita Joseph. We have a lot of work to do. We have to do it together. We are neighbors. We're community members. We're not other. I know each and every single one in this room knows that. So thank you and have a great afternoon, everyone.
To invite again Council Members Hudson and Joseph to please come up. They'll be presenting the award to the speaker. And we're writing up here for a photo op. With just a few words of introduction before the award is presented, we really have the great privilege of having Adrian Adams as the Speaker of the City Council. I was introduced to her by our mutual friend, Shimmy Pillman from Queens, and what she has done within the City Council is just extraordinary, and I know that her members have the highest regard for her, that we in the Jewish community have the highest regard for her. Ladies and gentlemen, receiving the award, the Speaker of the New York City Council, Adrian Adams.
So, you see this beautiful picture. The artist of this picture was somebody called Morris Katz, who doesn't know he passed away. He was a speed artist. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records. He produced pictures in seconds. And it's a beautiful scene of New York City. And I thought it was the most appropriate gift to give to us people.
Okay, guys, right here. One more. One second. Right here. Get down for me. Wait, don't move. You see that? Right. Beautiful.
Everybody take your seats. The speaker will say a couple of words about it.
Thank you so very much. I'm almost at a loss for words. Almost. Wow. Good afternoon again, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you to my amazing colleagues, council members, Joseph Hudson and Osei for that kind presentation and introduction. I also thank humbly Eli Cohen, Shania Sperlin, and the entire team at the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council for bringing us all together today for this amazing and auspicious occasion. Thank you so much for the hard work that you do. Of course, I want to acknowledge and thank my colleagues in government. I'm thanking Governor Kathy Hochul, who gave us an amazing keynote today. We can applaud her. She's not here. I want to extend my sincere thanks to our wonderful Attorney General and my mentor, the amazing Tish James. Congressmember Yvette Clarke. I also want to acknowledge my friend D.A. Eric Gonzalez. And a big hello and congrats to Assemblymember Brian Cunningham. Thank you all. Thank you all of my colleagues for always representing your districts with dedication and passion. You all know that as a city, we're recovering still from the many impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, which it's unquestionably changed our lives and the way that we challenge and present and handle challenges that we were already grappling with as a society. Housing, access to health, safety and food insecurity are just some of the challenges that our communities face daily. But it is due to the work of great community organizations like the Crown Heights JCC that our neighborhoods made it through the worst of the pandemic. Through your services in health and wellness, food programs, job placement, adult education, and so much more, your contributions to the community of Crown Heights, and really New York City overall, have made a tremendous difference for so many New Yorkers. And it's not just the last 3 years of the pandemic. For the past 5 decades, the Crown Heights JCC has made a lasting impact on this city. And for that, we are forever grateful for your incredible support. And your presence is needed now more than ever before. The pandemic has disrupted stability for so many families and communities, resulting in upticks in violence and hate. Anti-Semitism and other expressions of hate have continued to manifest across the city. And it's incumbent upon all of us to bring an end to that. The council has made curbing hate violence a priority because we cannot let it take root and spread any more than it already has. Your New York City Council has called for deeper investments in community-based programs that prevent and respond to hate crimes. And it's critical that our city budget addresses these efforts. By continuing to work together in partnership, we will strengthen our communities so that our residents have exactly what they need to thrive and succeed. I thank you all for being a part of this gathering today. The governor referenced a very, very painful reality for all of us. The reality that we are living in a world and in a time where it looks like evil is running rampant in our land, in this great land that we call home. But I am here to testify, as we say, in our religion. I am here to testify and share with you that we, in love, will always conquer hate as a people. And that we, in strength and unity, in bounded together, linked together as a people, will always stand in solidarity to do the right thing and always denounce the wrong thing. And so I commit to you, as the leader of the most diverse council in the history of the city of New York, that we will continue to stand for what is right and continue to stamp out as a body what is wrong. We will stand City. We will stand in full voice for the unity of the people of New York City, and we will always stand in love for the brotherhood and sisterhood of these peoples of the great New York City. We stand together. Thank you for all of you. Congratulations to the honoree.
Thank you very much, Speaker Adams. Without any further ado, someone has been sitting on this podium for a while. We want to bring her to the microphone. She represents this community and has for many years been a leader here, along with her wonderful mother. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Congresswoman Clarke.
To our Master of Ceremonies, Michael Miller, to Rabbi Cohen, Rabbi Sperling, and their team at the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, to my dear friend, colleague, fighter for the people, A.G. James, and to our district attorney, another one on the front lines for justice, Eric Gonzalez, to Ambassador His Excellency Ossoff, to Speaker Adrian Adams, congratulations, and to my distinguished colleagues of the New York City Council, Crystal Hudson, Jay Osei, and of course my Councilwoman Rita Joseph. Assembly members here present, Stephanie Zimmerman, and my Assemblyman Brian Cunningham, to all of the other elected and appointed officials in the room, to Inspector Richie Taylor, and come on, back it up for Richie, guys. The members of the NYPD 71st and 77th precincts, to the beloved community here gathered, a pleasant good afternoon. It's certainly my honor and my privilege to be with you once again and to say shalom. Shalom. I'm Congresswoman Clarke, and I proudly represent you in New York's 9th Congressional District in Central and South Brooklyn. Thank you all for inviting me to share in this breakfast. And please allow me a brief moment to thank all of those who carry on the important work and legacy of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council. To Rabbi Helena Sperling, to Rabbi Eli Cohen, Rabbi Zaki Tamir, to Rabbi Jossie Hochul, and Rabbi Michelle Bronston, and of course to my sister, Devorah Havisham. Thank you so much. To your dedication, commitment, leadership, and especially in these trying times. The causes that you have taken on in the Crown Heights community since 1969, when I was a wee little baby, have not only strengthened our community, it continues to improve the quality of life for the people here, and as well as deepen our human bonds. I especially appreciate all you've done in extending to me the honor of joining you for today's convening. Let me also acknowledge our very distinguished clergy of the Christian faith who are here. I see a number of very dear friends, some folks who my mother has adopted, and if I don't say something, they'll put her on speed test. Let me thank Governor Hochul and Speaker Adams for gracing the 9th District of Brooklyn on this beautiful May afternoon. Furthermore, allow me to congratulate today's honorees on their well-deserved recognition for years of service and their contributions to the Crown Heights community. It is not lost on me that we have gathered here today with heavy hearts. I cannot express enough how dismayed, disgusted, frustrated I am at the state of affairs in our country. Gun violence has been and continues to be out of control. We are facing a very serious gun crisis in the United States of America. And New York is not immune. We have known for some time that the gun trafficking, the ghost guns, that our NYPD has an insurmountable circumstance that they face with all of the guns that have flooded into our communities. I know you are sick of it too. I'm sick and tired of the thoughts and prayers. I'm sick and tired of the moments of silence to remember victims of gun violence. And I'm sick and tired of inaction. I'm exhausted, and I'm angry, and I'm hurt. And I know my heart is not the only one aching for all the families devastated by this latest tragedy caused by yet another mass shooting with a high-powered weapon. Regrettably, the opposition to Congress enacting sensible gun laws is unwavering, unmoved, and apparently unbothered by the horrific back-to-back mass shootings to even consider voting on any common sense gun laws. However, Congress must act immediately to curb this gun crisis that is at our feet. Congress has the power to turn the corner. And we cannot afford another senseless and preventable massacre. We must stand up and act now. We must stand up, and just like this city council did, like this council, the Jewish Community Council did so many years ago, in response to deteriorating social and economic conditions in Crown Heights, stand firm. Thankfully, many of you in this room continue to stand for Crown Heights, including our very diverse group of honorees, our elected officials, our community organizers, and all of the passionate people who fight and sacrifice consistently to better our beloved 9th Congressional District of Brooklyn. Through your collective work, a stronger and better Brooklyn, I believe, I firmly believe, is on the horizon, and you deserve the utmost gratitude for that. I was born and raised here in Brooklyn, just walking distance from where we are today, and have lived on that same block all of my life. The daughter of Jamaican immigrants, I've spent my entire life here, following in the footsteps of my incredible mom, the Honorable Dr. Una S. Clarke, the first foreign-born, Caribbean-born woman elected to New York City Council. You know, my mother taught me well, and I know how important it is to foster healthy relationships, to promote equity, and coordinate our efforts to continue to build up our people and our community. Together, we form an unbreakable shield against any forces that seek to destroy the values, the beliefs, and the traditions we hold dear. There is no room for hate here. There is no safe harbor for anti-Semitism, for racism, for xenophobia. And that is what empowers me every time I step onto the floor of the House. You have my back. As a part of the 2022 Omnibus Appropriations Bill, House Democrats provided humanity-focused aid to our nation's most vulnerable groups, including nonprofits and religious affiliations. From $140.4 billion in funding to the Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program to $29.9 billion in funding for the Administration for Children and Families to $6.2 billion in funding for child care and development block grants, $254 million more in this fiscal year of 2021. We have secured generational funding to help our families who are in need in the most the most, right here in Crown Heights and across New York. You know, I take note about the way that we congratulate our state for all they're doing, and they need to be congratulated. But let us be clear, it's the federal government that has been making it rain throughout this pandemic and has made it possible for us to do the security grants that make it possible for our religious institutions to secure themselves in an uncertain and violent environment. Through measures like these and partnerships between all levels of our government, we can turn the tide against the lack of affordable housing, the deficit in healthcare and nutrition, unemployment, the lack of access to adult education, support for at-risk youth, and the rise in crime, including, and most importantly, for our community's hate crimes. Together, we can truly deliver the change that we need. We, standing together, shoulder to shoulder, in the midst of the storm, will be victorious. So let me thank all of you once again for this afternoon's gathering, to Rabbi Sperlin and to Rabbi Cohen. Let me say congratulations, a very hearty congratulations to today's honorees. And let us all continue to bind together, to move forward as we lift up this community and as we lift up those who are most vulnerable amongst us. God bless. Shalom.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to call to the microphone a number of the New York State Assembly people who are here. But before I do so, I do want to acknowledge the presence of Supreme Court Judge Ruchi Feuer. Thank you for joining us. Let me call upon Queens David Weprin, member of the State Assembly. David Weprin.
Greetings from the other side of the BQE. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. It's also a very important day in Israel and to the Jewish community. This is Yom Yerushalayim, which 55 years since Jerusalem has been united, and it's a big holiday in Israel, right, Consul General?
Very big day. Happy Jerusalem Day, everyone.
Big celebration, Jerusalem Day. I've obviously been a friend of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council for many, many years, going back to when our Attorney General and I served in the City Council together.
Yes.
Seems like a very long time ago.
No.
And I want to pay tribute to my colleague, our new City Council Speaker, who overlaps with my Assembly District and really has hit the ground running and really has been great in this very new, diverse City Council. The first time you have a City Council that's a majority women. And we got quite a few of them here today, so that's great. But also I have two new Assembly colleagues who are here who really have hit the ground running, Stephanie Zinnerman and Ryan Cunningham, who really didn't need on-the-job training. They really came together, and it was a very tough time. But I think the mayor may be on his way here, so I don't want to take up too long, but I just want to thank the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, Anita Sperling and Ellie Cohn, for all the great work that they do, not only here in Crown Heights and Brooklyn, but really working with so many different communities throughout our city and state. So thank you for allowing me to get a passport to come to this great borough and this great neighborhood. assembly member also who's here. Right here, Monica.
Not Monica.
Monique. Congratulations.
We'll get to Monique in a moment, but next I want to call upon Assembly Member Stephanie Zinnerman.
Well, thank you. Peace, shalom to each and every one of you today. This is an auspicious occasion. This is a wonderful occasion for us all to be gathered here today. Protocol already being established by the governor and our wonderful congressman. I want to say first thank you to the Crown Heights Community Council for all of the great work that you have been doing for decades, and especially for the care and concern that you have for our elders and our community every single day. Please give them a round of applause because they are, I know people say children are our future, but our older adults are also our future because they're living to get older and older and older. So we must honor them. I just have a short message today. And as I look out into this room, this is the message of faith, love, and hope that we need to continue to export into our community. If you look at this room, you know that these individuals have been working for decades to make sure that we were united. Although we are very different in maybe our daily practices, we operate from a place of faith, we operate from a place of love, and we operate from a place of hope. Which is why annually we come together to honor those who've been doing great work in our community, but also on a monthly basis why we gather to talk about the issues in our community so that we can together solve those issues and move forward together as one people. One people, one Crown Heights has got to be the message that our children, our elders, and those in between feel viscerally when they walk out their doors. Unfortunately, we know in certain parts of our districts and our city, that is not the truth. But it is up to each and every one of us to carry forth that message by living the truth of unity by example, caring for each other. We all know that it starts in our home, how we teach our children, what they learn in school, and then it extends out into the community. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for being true community members, living by example, walking by faith, and having faith and hope for our future. God bless you, and one of you, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. And next, we're going to call upon not the newest, but a very new member of the New York State Assembly, Brian Cunningham. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Rabbi. I won't be long because there's nothing wrong with a room full of politicians that have long speeches. But do want to give honor to the honorees and honor to this community because for years we worked together on reducing gun violence in Crown Heights when I was at Save Our Streets and stomping out hate. We're committed to continue that fight together. Congratulations again and looking forward to our continued partnership. And now to our newest Assembly member, Monique Waterman.
Among the Assembly members, a very quick hello from the Assembly-elect member, Monique Chandler Waterman.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this time. Thank you to Crown Heights Council. Thank you to Rabbi. Thank you for all the electeds here. And I know protocol has been already established. My name is Monique Chandler Waterman. I'm the new Assemblywoman-elect for District 58. Thank you. That we have to unite, we have to be as one, work as one, bring resources, doesn't matter what district you're in, we are all going to work together. So I want to continue pushing that message forward as one united Brooklyn. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now my pleasure to introduce somebody who all of us have known for an extended period of time, the Executive Vice President for Intergovernmental Affairs of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, a very familiar face here at Crown Heights and throughout the city of New York, Khalida Sterling.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for coming. I already know your word is a word of gold. So that you hear speaks louder than ever before. Mr. Mayor said today, of course, Crown Heights is no stranger to him. He grew up here. His political career started over here in the state senate, then in Borough Hall, now in City Hall. But he had two people that stood by his side, and who, one of them is my sister, from a different mother, of course, Ingrid Lewis Martin. Been a very dear friend of this community. Every step the mayor went, she was there. Other people give her the credit that the mayor is the mayor today, but that's for a second conversation. But she's been a friend over here for many, many years, and the community always appreciated all our efforts she did, particularly now that she's in City Hall. I'm going to say one small thing, and I hope I don't regret it. You know, I called up Ingrid to be maybe 3 months ago, half a year ago. I had a different problem in the community, and with the PD, I'm not going to go into particulars. And most people said that it could not be done. I called up Ingrid, said, I know what you're speaking about. I love this person. Well, not only Ingrid worked in this community over here, she lives there. Her whole life she lived over here at Crown Heights. So things that we need, she needs. So we always work together, and Ingrid took care of this problem for me. Other people think that I get the credit, so I told this person from the PD that it wasn't me. You know, I like taking credit for it, but it wasn't me. It was Ingrid. The other person that we're going to be honoring today is Joe Eishofer. We call him Yogi. Senior advisor to the mayor, who also was by the mayor through the mayor's whole political career. He worked in Crown Heights in the state senate office, Borough Hall, and currently in City Hall. Now, before I'm going to ask the mayor to come up and say a couple of words and call up the honorees to present them for these awards, there's another person who's sitting on this dais table, and that is my brother, Commissioner Fred Kreisman. And Joe remembered this very clearly, because I remember this very clearly. Commissioner Kreisman, I know he was the Assistant Commissioner of the Mayor's Office, the Deputy Commissioner of the Mayor's Office. All these titles mean nothing anyway. But, you know, the bottom line, action, that was what matters. Commissioner Kreisman, I think Joe called him up and said, we have a situation over here in one of the local churches on Eastern Parkway, think it was on the north side of Eastern Parkway. A person came in one Sunday, and he had a gun. Had a gun. In the house of worship, a gun. And it was Joe who called Fred, Bishop Kreisman, and I remember because I was sitting in that time Senator Adams' office on Flatbush Avenue. They were thinking how to deal with the situation, and but the end was the guy walked out and he left the gun on the bench in the house of worship, and without the story left over there. But you remember this. So this is people who already did for the community. And Mr. Mayor, you know I said about Fred Kreisman, you can't get any better. So now I'm going to ask the mayor of the city of New York. You know, the mayor said once during the campaign, he came over and said, you know, I'm not like other people. I know how to get a Crown Heights without a GPS. I don't need a GPS to come in. Other people have to come in and put in the address. If he has to put in the address only because of this traffic this way, traffic that way. But where he has to go in Crown Heights, he knows. You know, we don't have to teach him. Other people we have to teach how to get here. And he was here, and come time in and time again, a dear friend of this community. So I'm going to estimate to say a couple of words and present to our two honorees who well deserve the award. Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anita, for your years of friendship. And when you do an analysis of the number of electeds who have come through, are serving now, you look at our amazing Attorney General, who just did an amazing takedown this week of organized crime going into our stores. She's been a real partner as she has used her office to go after those tangible things that we must address. You look at Jamani Williams, who's a public advocate. You had part of communities in central Brooklyn. When you look at the former mayor, Bill de Blasio, came through central Brooklyn and the Park Slope community, former public advocate as well. When you just really do an analysis of the role of Crown Heights in this council, what Anita Sperling has done year after year after year, this is a powerful organization and institution, and we're just thankful for the friendship and how you just organize on those real bread and butter issues. So thank you for so many years, brother. You spent a lot of time in his living room, speaking with his family, and many of you who are here, you're not new faces. But I didn't need a GPS again, as Anita stated, to go to Crown Heights. But let me tell you something else. I didn't need a GPS to go to Flushing. I need a GPS to be around the Chinese community. I need a GPS to be around the Haitian community, the Caribbean diaspora, the African community in the Bronx, the family owners in South Jamaica, Queens, where our amazing speaker, who we went to high school together. I didn't need a GPS for this city. And I wasn't introducing myself to New Yorkers. New Yorkers knew me. And they knew that Eric was not new to this, he was true to this. And that is what we must become. We have to solve problems. That's what we have to solve. And we cannot waste this opportunity that people elected us to get stuff done. We can spend our entire career saying, what we are not going to do in the city of Kent. All of these agencies for far too long, they have not been producing the product that your taxpayers' dollars have been paying for. It's time to pay. You pay your taxes, we need to do our job. And so when you call us about a gun on the shelf, about there's a trash problem, or there's a light that's being fixed, or that your schools are not having supplies, yes, we respond. We respond. And to all my local elections, You're not going to have more power under any other mayor but me. I'm going to make sure that my city agencies are going to respect the fact that you were elected to office. They need to respect that. Because I was a former legislator, I was a former borough president. I know what it is to call an agency after one of these community residents reached out to you and no one responded to your call. You can't even get a call back because those who are running agencies or mid-management in agencies, they believe someone elected them and not that they elected you. Those days are over. Those days are over. It's local politics and your ability to navigate agencies that's going to make sure that our communities finally get what they deserve. That's what we're going to do. And we're seeing it every day. We know that. And you hear over and over again people say the first time ever. Man, we got so many first times. Are you kidding me? The first time. Those city council persons who were city council members, you were fighting for years to have summer youth employment. You couldn't even get 75,000. We have 100,000 summer youth employment jobs. First time ever. Those who are fighting for women's rights, we're the first time you have 5 women deputy mayors that were appointed by this administration. You've been arguing for years for child care. You've been talking about child care, child care, child care. Everyone gave you lip service. We were able to go and partner with our colleagues in Albany, and we're bringing in billions for child care. Mothers that were paying out of their pockets for families, now they can get $10 a week. Everyone talked about the importance of having college savings funds. This is the first administration that every child in kindergarten is going to have a college savings fund. We are seeding, and you're 3 times more likely to go to college, 4 more times more likely to graduate from college. First time ever it was ever done. We haven't even raised the earned income tax credit in years. This administration, with our partners in Albany, we're raising the earned income tax credit for the first time in almost 30 years. When you start checking off what we are doing as an administration, breaking the glass ceiling, first African American Latino to be the police commissioner, first Latino to be the commissioner of the Department of Corrections, first Latino to be the commissioner of Department of Transportation. You see the diversity, the number of members from your community that's on my team right now is reflective of this city. All through my administration, you're seeing the faces of New York. AAPI, LGBTQ plus community, Jewish community, African American, Caribbean community. This is diversity that brought me into office and we're putting into office. But no matter who you have in office, it's come down to one thing. Are you getting stuff done? Are you getting stuff done? This is no longer a city with a culture of no. Every time we ask, can we do something, people start off with no. No, how do we get to yes? How do we get to yes? I'm getting our city to yes. I know some people are just not going to like how successful I'm going to be, but it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. We are going to be successful. This is going to be a successful city. We're going to partner with Adams and Adams law firm because we got a good partner in the city council. We're going to partner with Andrew Stewart Cousin and Carl Hasty, who I just spoke to today, as we navigate the challenges in Albany. We're going to build those relationships and those partnerships because we don't have any other choice. 11-year-old children are being shot in our streets. Our children are carrying 9mm guns to school. Think about that for a moment. We don't have a choice. There's nothing I can do to anyone in this city that's worse than what they're doing to our children and families in this city. Nothing. We got to put all this to the side. We got to focus on saving the families of the city. We got to focus on saving the families of the city. Anti-Semitism, attacks on AAPI, Children not feeling safe in their schools. Jobs are being closed down because you cannot have a store without someone stealing what they want. Homelessness on our streets. All of these issues. If we are not fighting together to resolve it, we're not going to resolve it. And so the two people that we are honoring today are symbols of who's in government. I'm sure we can replace these names right with Adrian T. She has dedicated servants in her team. We replace it with any of these council assembly persons. All of them have people in their offices that are so committed. You're not in government because you're making a lot of money. Let's get clear. Let's get clear. When I called Joe 4 in the morning because a building has collapsed, when I called Ingrid 3, 4 in the morning and asked her to meet me somewhere because I'm in a hospital helping a family, I'm not doing this for money. When these electeds call their teams, when they're out all night long, worrying about these issues, they're not doing it for money. You can't do this if you don't believe in it. It's just not possible. It's not possible. And no matter what they do, it's never good enough. But we know that is part of the job description, never good enough. But you do it anyway. And so I am humbled to be able to honor two people who have been with me throughout my entire rise to be the mayor of the city of New York. Ingrid, my sister, who her husband and I were rookie cops together in the police academy, ran my first campaign, chief of staff in the state senate, same in Borough Hall, continued to just do the work, just do the job, do the job. And people say, you know what, she just, so heavy-handed. But damn it, y'all said y'all wanted women to be strong. Don't let me When a man does it, he's strong and forceful. When a woman does it, she's too aggressive. No. I don't want sheeps. I want lions. I want lions. And that's why we picked Commissioner Sewell. That's why we picked. And so I want to give her a platform. It's not a raise. So on behalf of this great organization, Nina and your entire team, we want to just really thank you, Ingrid, for your work and this commitment. This community knows you. You're no stranger here. They know you from your days of Major Owens, your days of community leadership and former educator. Your whole public safety. You've just been around here for so long. Just goes to show you that you work hard. People acknowledge and appreciate. I see our good brother Clarence Norman, who's here in the room. For a long time. And so folks are just saying thank you. Thank you. This organization for acknowledging the work that my sister has done throughout the years. Thank you, Sherry.
It's indeed an honor for me to be here, and I'm humbled. I was tardy because I was at church, and I know that people understand that. I had to regroup and focus and put some things to God. And coming here today is just awesome to me. Nina and I, for many years, we've known each other, and we've always had a great relationship as family. And it's important to understand sometimes family has a time when you're together, you may not always agree, but at the end of the day, when you need each other, you're always there for each other. So Kanina, I thank you and all of the members of the Crown Heights Jewish Council
for always being there for Mayor Adams. As I look around this room, this is Crown Heights. It is a testament to what our city is. In this room, when you hear the word Crown Heights Jewish Coalition, you would think that it would be filled with only people from the Crown Heights community who are Jewish, who are Hasidic. But when you look around this room, you see diversity. You see people from all walks of life and all views. And that's what Crown Heights is. I moved into Crown Heights when I was 5 years old. And I still live in Crown Heights. And no matter what, I will always have a residence in Crown Heights. Only Tamina could get the mayor of New York City to be on the DS with the police commissioner, who I am so humbled that she's here, the first black female commissioner of NYPD, and Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. My soror, the first black woman to be the Speaker of the New York City Council, and my sister friend, Attorney General Letitia James. Who else can assemble this group? It's just amazing. So again, I'm humbled. There are many people in the audience. I pay homage to our city council members. Again, I have to shout out my brother, Clarence Norman, one of the shoulders that he does. Judy Lasso, when you were here, when I was working for Roger Green and we had to go on loan to Shelley Silvis, you offered me a permanent job. So I'll never forget that, and I thank you for everything. And I thank each and every one of you who are here today. My cousin is in the audience, Carmen, thank you for coming today. The community board 9 members, and I love all of you. Thank you. Oh, Joe, couldn't pick a better person to be honored with. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, would you like to join us? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you go receive it. You can sit there. Police
Can you see? That's okay. Folks.
All right, good.
And so our next honoree is just a real friend. I know we saw Judy, but it's good seeing also Willie Workoff, but also good to see you. Joel and I have been, brothers for a long time. Joel, I saw all of his children born, raised. I see my goddaughter Esther, and every time I walk in the room, she just looks up and just gazes at Eric, and it's just a real honor. Rarely do you find someone that no one has anything negative to say about. You only hear good things from Joe. Joe is a peacemaker. And Anita is just so accurate, and this organization is accurate, acknowledging the commitment Joe has been doing throughout the years, how he has really just brought communities together. Been able to sit down in any community, no matter where you go, you see Joe's ability to identify a problem, come up with solutions, and get us all at the table of saying, how do we resolve the problems that we're facing? He's all about families coming together, families being able to raise their children, families being able to prosper in the city. And so it is applicable to have of him here today. Just want to say thank you to my friend of so many years. You know, good friends walk in the room when others walk out. Walk in the room. Joe, as a friend, will always walk in the room when others walk out. He's a steady, steady friend. And we cannot thank him enough, and it gives me great honor to give him this award today. I couldn't get him to talk to me first.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving me this opportunity to be able to help people. I would like to thank Rabbi Hanina Sperling, Rabbi Eli Cohen, for the dedication to the community and recognizing me and my fellow honorees here today. I especially want to acknowledge my close friend for so many years, Dr. Ingrid Lewis Martin, for her leadership and kindness. I'd also like to acknowledge City Council Speaker Andrea Adams for her support. I'd like to give a shout out to Isaac Wertzberger, who helped all the community. We all owe a tremendous amount of gratitude to the men and women of the NYPD who are here with us today and being honored. Special recognition also for my colleague, Commissioner Fred Kreisman, Inspector Richie Taylor, Lieutenant Ira Jablonski. As we all know, the Crown Heights Jewish community is known for the great work they do around the world. It is this organization like this, Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, that leads the way for so many other organizations as they carry out their holy work in Crown Heights and around the world. May God always bless and help those who assist others. Thank you very much.
They're not gonna get the picture. Where is it? What is this? Can everybody back up so we can take a good picture? Wait, back up. Don't move. One second. Yes, I got it. You got it? I just put it in that. Look, this shit is good.
We have our board now that we want to present to a friend of the community, a businessman, Mr. Isaac Wertzberger. From Williamsburg. And with his twin brother, of course, with different mother, but his twin brother, Commissioner Christ, which presenting the board.
This is a true testament to the work of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council. We have the governor, the mayor, the speaker, all the elected officials here today with all the major organizations throughout the city, from Met Council to APAC, come together to pay tribute to the work that Hanina Sperling has done for years. He's been a true friend of mine for 20 years since I started in politics. He's been a true loyal person to the mayor for all those years, and truly worthwhile counseling was what we could plan. But obviously to come together here to pay tribute to the honorees, of course, Chief Advisor Ingrid Morton, the Senior Advisor Joe Leisdorfer, and the commanding officers and speakers, but I had the distinct honor of presenting the award to someone who I really consider like a brother, who has advised me over 20 years in politics, someone who I do consider as a brother, so I called on Isaac Wordsworth to come forth. He's been as loyal as could be, a person who's day in, day out, 24 hours, 6 days a week, he just happened, but available to serve the needs of all communities in the city, whether it be in Crown Heights, Borough Park, Williamsburg, anyone ever needs anything. He never says no. He's always making himself available to the detriment of his business, even for 12 years helping me. He didn't focus on it. He had a hiatus to focus, and I became a philanthropist now, and able to help the people around the city. So I close my eyes and words with him.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Commissioner Kreisman. Whatever he said on me, I know everybody knows him here in this room for the past 20 years. And he's a symbol of what the real mensch is. He's out there 24 hours for anybody to help. I greatly appreciate this tremendous recognition. I'm humbled by your words. As we all know, the two tremendous pillars of the Crown Heights Jewish community is Rabbi Hanina Sperling and Rabbi Eli Cohn. They give themselves to others each and every day. Thank you so much. And I can say the same thing, almost the same thing about Rabbi Hanina Sperling. We're going back 20 years, and I learned a lot from him. Always think about others, do for others, help any community, no matter if it's Hasidic, they belong to your community, if it's a different race, always make sure to treat everyone the same, and I try to follow his footsteps. To my fellow honorees, Chief Advisor to the Mayor, Dr. Ingrid Lewis Martin, Senior Advisor to the Mayor, Joe Leisdorfer, and the City Council Speaker. Each of you signify public service, each of you signify selflessness, and you all shine a bright light as you perform your daily work in goodness and kindness. To my great friends in the NYPD, which will follow the direction of our great Mayor, Mayor Eric Adams. He came into the city at a tough time, and we see his dedication, together with Commissioner Sol, which they work entirely to get the city back in the place where it should be. One thing I would like to add about this mayor and his team, starting by the mayor itself, by the police commissioner, and you can say the same thing on Ingrid and Joe Leisdorfer, Fred Kreisman. The spirit and the vibe, when they come into a room or when they come into a situation, they will always be with a smile. What else can we do for you? What else can we do for the community? As the mayor said himself, we are not here to say no. We are here to help you. Let's give them all a round of applause. I missed out one name. He's also one of my brothers. Inspector Richie Taylor, which everybody in this room knows him, is out there for the community 24 hours, 6 days a week, doing everything he can to help. I will always cherish this award from the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council. I will always remain a partner with you to carry out the good you do to the people of this great city. Thank you so much.
Richie, come in.
I went to the back.
Just look at the camera.
All right, back up a little bit, back up.
Ellie, you're in the way.
Before we turn to the next part of the program, acknowledging the exceptional role played by your police department, I do want to acknowledge the presence here in the room of State Assembly Member Simcha Eichenstein, and the chair of the Jewish Caucus of the City Council, from whom we'll be hearing in a few minutes, Eric Denowitz. Thank you very much for being here. It is now my true honor, Mr. Mayor, to present to all of you the commissioner, the 45th commissioner of the New York Police Department, and Commissioner Sewell, who's a native to Queens, Long Island City, from Jamaica, and served for many years for the police department in Nassau County. But she is here not only for her own presence as to who she is, but also to give honor to those who are receiving awards that have been presented by the Chief of Patrol Borough, Brooklyn South, Chief Michael Kempner. So I can please call on Chief Kempner and Commissioner Sewell to please come to the microphone.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council for having us here today, inviting me, giving me the opportunity to address you. I'll echo what Mayor Adams has said about it takes the community to turn things around. It's evidence in this room and everyone sitting here who's a part of what we are endeavoring to do to make this city safer and better. It takes leaders like Inspector Joseph Hochul and Deputy Inspector Tony Brown. It takes people, honorees, an Attorney General, a City Council, inspectors like Richie Taylor. It takes the mayor. It takes all of us. We may not be in the same boat, but we have to row in the same direction. We have to stand together. We have to be together because it's going to take quite a bit to do what we need to do. But make no mistake about it, anyone who thinks New York City is not coming back is not a student of history. It is my honor to be a part of this change in this team. And I'd like to introduce our honorees, Chief Mike Kemper.
Thank you, Commissioner, and good afternoon to everyone. Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, our First Deputy Commissioner, Commissioner Kavan, Rabbi Sperling, thank you very much for having us here today. I'm in a unique position in that today's two honorees, I'm a few miles ahead of them on this road trip. 31 years ago, I became a cop. My first assignment out of the police academy was the 7-1 precinct back in 1991. And you talk about different times. I'm listening to a few different speakers talk about those times and how challenging and complex and how far we've come, and they couldn't be nothing further from the truth. But during the course of my career in those 31 years, it's taken me to all different positions on patrol, 22 years on patrol, about 9-10 years in the Detective Bureau, with the overwhelming majority of my time spent in Brooklyn, both in Brooklyn South and Brooklyn North. The two boroughs where our honorees are working right now. As far as Brooklyn South, I commanded the 7-6 precinct. Brooklyn North, I commanded the 9-0 precinct, certainly not the 7-1 and the 7-7 in Crown Heights, but make no mistake about it, we share a lot of similarities. I know very much how difficult, how challenging, and just how important your jobs are. I also know both individuals personally. Having worked in Brooklyn North, I was the commander of Detective Borough Brooklyn North for 4 years, and Deputy Inspector Tony Brown. His presence was very, very visible there, his involvement. He's a leader. There's no secret as to why he's commanding such a diverse and complex precinct as the 7-7 precinct. He's commanding that precinct because he's the real deal. So I just want to congratulate him. As far as our second honoree, Inspector Joseph Haywood, what did I say? Just so impressed with Joe Haywood. Interestingly enough, as I talk about my history, having never met Joe Haywood until I just got this assignment, he was the CO of the 7-1. I've been working with him for 9 months, and during those 9 months, I've been very, very impressed beyond words with how involved he is, how dedicated he is. And, you know, we talk to Joe, and a lot of our conversations are about police work. It's not always about fighting crime. There's so much more to police work than fighting crime. He talks about community. He talks about working with the children in the neighborhood. He talks about working with our violence interrupters, stuff that years ago we would never be speaking about. He's a believer, and I'm a big fan of Joe Haywood. So, Joe, congratulations. This is what I'm going to end it, and I think I'm supposed to call you up and congratulate you.
Everybody, come out here and just to introduce myself to some of the people that are familiar with me. My name is Deputy Inspector Tony Brown. I'm commander also of the 77th Precinct. Thank you. Since I've been here, there's been a few goals and visions that I had when I took over this past June. One of the goals obviously is to address crime and gun violence. The other important issue or vision that I had as well, that very important to me, was making sure that relationship we have with the community is very, very close and tight. So to say a few things that I want to say that's really important to me is, I want to say a few people that's very important to me that really, since I've been here, I know he's looking the other way. People I want to say thank you to, since I've been here, to have my back and my support. There's not only a few people, it's Brian Saunders. Our community council president, Reverend Henry. Thank you. A few other people, thank you again, Rabbi Cohen, Rabbi Perlin, thank you for having this event. Thank you, because having this award means a lot. It means that we're doing a good job with the police department to make sure that the relationship with the police department and the community is very tight and very close. Because it means a lot that everybody in my precinct understands that and get in line with my vision. Make sure that the community relationship is very, very tight. So thank you again for that award. And thank you for that. And a few other people I just want to say thank you to as well, too. Not only people in the community, the people in my precinct as well, because the men and women that work very hard to address not only gun violence and the crime, but also make sure that relationship with the community is very, very important. And a few other people, too, I just want to say thank you to. I'm not sure you're still here. Inspector Richie Taylor, thank you, appreciate it. And Inspector Haywood, thank you. Because whenever you have any incidents that happen, these are the people I always talk to, not only the rabbi, also people in the community, other people, to make sure we all come to the same solution and make sure everything Crown Heights is all come to try to help out Crown Heights as much as we can at the end of the day. That's what that main focus at the end of the day. And without them, I wouldn't be up here. Without them, I wouldn't be successful. And thank you again for everybody that came out. Thank you everybody for this award. Thank you again, Rabbi Perlin and Rabbi
I'll be quick. 7-7, all right. 7-1's in the house now, right? Listen, it's really hard to follow the governor, the mayor, other precinct COs, the Congresswoman, Ingrid, the rabbi, everyone. So, but they saved the best for at least fourth list. Listen, thank you to the Crown Heights Jewish Community Center for this recognition. I want to thank the NYPD executives who are present here today. Chief Michael Kemper and Police Commissioner Sewell.
Your presence at this meeting tonight, it speaks volumes of how much you care about the Jewish community of Crown Heights. Chief Kemper, Chief, your leadership at the top, it's what motivates me to drive down crime, build everlasting bonds with the community, and take care of all who don't work for me, but that we all work together in the 7-1. So thank you. I wish I could take all the credit for the public safety of Crown Heights, but the truth be told, it is the police officers, the boots on the ground every day getting the job done. Some of you guys get pictures in the neighborhood of the guns that we take off the street. Well, 137 gun arrests were made last year by members of the 7-1 precinct. This is no easy task. The day-to-day operations of conducting targeted enforcement on the 1% of individuals that commit violent crime, and we always stay laser focused on these individuals. But myself and these fine officers cannot do it alone. It takes enthusiastic community leaders to complete this great team. Rabbi Sperling, thank you for your advice and welcoming me into the Jewish community and explaining to me at every large Jewish detail the significance of this event. Thank you to Deborah Halstead, who since my assignment on day one has taught me the importance of investigations of bias incidents and taking even the slightest violation serious. We must not be complacent. There are no small acts of anti-Semitism. Any bias violation unaccounted for, it will not be the question of if that act will lead to more serious violence, but when it will lead to that act. I stand here today to tell you that any act of anti-Semitism in Crown Heights will not and must not be tolerated. The 7-1 precinct will stand guard at 770 Eastern Parkway so that all of you can feel free to practice your Jewish faith without the fear of hate. We will never forget the dark day of March 1st, 1994, where young Ari Halstead and a group of Lubavitch boys were attacked out of hate. We will not forget the recent incidents in Buffalo and Texas that show how much evil is still in the world. The NYPD will protect and defend against these evils, and we will do so with honor. May God bless the community of Crown Heights and the NYPD who protects it, and may God bless this great country and all the armed servicemen that protect it every day. Thank you.
One more.
Robert Halverson, could you please join us on the podium for the photo? Thanks.
Can I
have Joel and Isaac, please join us.
Don't drop this camera. I don't know what they're doing. Wow. This is crazy. That's a beautiful picture, but look at the camera. Smile. It's like gotta be down here for a better picture. After we can do will come down to you. Yeah. We'll be down there, so. Yeah. there you go. The commissioner knows what's going on.
Can I move down more? Should I move down more? You want me to audience in the way?
I like that song. Shake. Okay. One second. Very nice. Yeah. Look at the camera.
Back to the program. It's my pleasure to call to the microphone the chair of the Jewish caucus of the New York City Council.
What?
Eric Dinowitz. As I said last week, the council represents Grace Clinton and father celebrated the
685. That's your friend?
And I also want to give
685-4040.
microphone to Ellie Slavin, the tireless liaison for the Jewish community. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Or good evening, I'm not sure what it is at this moment. I came all the way from the Bronx, which shows just how important this community is. And you can't all see what I see on those of us who are up here at this lectern. You can see our perspective. That's right, you tell her. Hey, listen to her. Because if you don't, she can arrest you. For violating noise ordinances, that's right. You get a whole investigation, something. But the perspective I have physically, I think is really important. You know, I'm Jewish. As mentioned, I chair the Jewish caucus, so I attend a lot of Jewish events. And I attend synagogue and shul. And very often, it's all Jewish people. Or I attend a church or an event, and it's all black people. Or it's all people in the Latino community. And it's important that we stand with our own communities and we uplift each other. But what's more important, I think, is what I see here. Is sitting and breaking bread and eating with one another and talking with one another. People who don't look like you. People who don't have the same upbringing, the same background as you do. Because we talk a lot about hate, anti-Semitism. We talk a lot about racism, anti-AAPI violence. It's really hard to feel that way against another community if you are breaking bread with them, if you're sharing experiences with them. So this is a really powerful thing to see all of you together like this. I know she's not here, but I do want to highlight the fact that Speaker Adrienne Adams has been an incredible ally of the Jewish community, really uplifting and highlighting the increase in hate crimes we're seeing and the increase in anti-Jewish hate crimes we're seeing in the city. And if the massacre in Buffalo wasn't painful and hard enough, especially for the black community, it was a terrifying reminder that while we are here united in friendship and love, we are also, unfortunately, the black community and the Jewish community, united by the hatred of the white supremacy. And because the black community were the victims of that awful massacre, in the manifesto and in this replacement theory nonsense, it is also the Jewish people who are in control of it. I guess that's right, it's in control of this all. And the anti-Semitism we're seeing and the racism we're seeing in our city, in our country, are inextricably linked. So it's more important now than ever that we are doing exactly what all of you are doing here. Crown Heights is coming together and fighting back. And I just want to thank you all in the council. We are doing our best to do that, and I'm really grateful to have partners in government who feel the same way, in the mayor's office, in the attorney general herself in her office, and really all of you. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, painting. Me and Eric want to paint.
Thank you, and thank you also. Unfortunately, as much as we try to squeeze things together, the program always seems to stretch out. And important honorees are left all the way to the end, but there are 3 people we are going to honor very quickly because they're very deserving of honor. The first one has been a dedicated friend. Literally, every time there's something that's happening in the community, he's right there. He knows who to call, how to get it done. And he's been a tremendous friend of Crown Heights. He also shares my last name, so we're going to call out Michael Cohen. It's worth the patience. Look at this. Well, Michal Muchnik is an artist in the community, and he's really a talented artist, and we wanted to give him something really that you could display on the wall. This is not, a little plaque that goes on your way to the office. It's a real beautiful picture, and this is for you, Michael, for everything that you do. I love this.
Yeah, back there. One more. Beautiful.
All right. Next award, I know you've been so patient, everybody, and I really appreciate it. Oh, one second.
I know the hour's late, so I'll be brief, but thank you so much to the Crown Heights Community Council and to everybody here for this award. It's really been such an honor and a pleasure and privilege to be working in this community for so many years. And I think the reason that we're all so successful is when you hear everybody speaking here talk about how long we all know each other. I just have memories of sitting with Ingrid and Clarence and Fanina in living rooms 25 years ago, thinking what we could all do to change this. And then obviously, seeing the Attorney General, at that point when you were the DA's office, being there every single time we needed. We're all just, it's a family. And it's really such an incredible family, as Ingrid said earlier. And because of that, the relationships we all have, we're able to get things done. There's no ivory towers here. And we just want to get things accomplished for the community and thank God we're blessed with the opportunities to be in positions to do so. So really, thank you so much, Zanina, Ellie, for this recognition and the rest of the Crown Heights Community Council, and really for all of you for making this possible with all your friendship and your love for all these years. Thank you.
Next, we're going to call out somebody who's been a real one-man political force in the community. Avi Leshes has knocked on doors. He's got people signed up to vote. He is about civic engagement. In his day job, he works for the Brooklyn Chamber, still working for the Brooklyn Chamber, but more hours than he gives to the Brooklyn Chamber, he gives to building this community, and building the political strength of the community. So we're going to call up Avi Leshes for the next award.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Selena. I want to just
give a shout out, especially to Ellie and Antonino, for helping really invigorate the youth of the community. When the last election happened, we really worked together with Ingrid and Joel, as well as Nina and Ellie, and we really engaged the youth of the young community. Especially want to give a shout out to my partner who really helped engage in schools, as well as the synagogues in the community, Dr. Berman, who together with working with our team created a united Crown Heights, which really brought the community together to support and bring out the vote. So thank you all for the honor. It's really a pleasure.
And last but not least, I knew this was going to happen, so I spoke about him a little bit at the beginning. But there is one more award to Jeremy Nicholson. As you said earlier, Jeremy put together the most phenomenal network of volunteers. People who came to pack packages, people came to organize, people came to make sure that people had the masks and the sanitizer and everything. Everything that was needed to make sure that people were fed during the pandemic, Jeremy did it. And he did it while he was doing 100 other things in school and all kinds of other things, but he found the time, he got it done. He personally came in and helped. He wasn't just a volunteer coordinator, he was there working side by side with the volunteers. And he literally fed thousands and thousands of people, hundreds of packages a week. And he deserves a tremendous amount of recognition. And he's getting the last one. I'm sorry you laughed, but you know, it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Hello everybody, I know that it's been a long ceremony, so thanks for having me. I'm so honored to be here. So I'm someone who's organized in a lot of different spaces, from immigration stuff and food justice and ending mass incarceration, but honestly, working in the pandemic in my own neighborhood, in my own community, was the honor of a lifetime. And, you know, Crown Heights is such an incredible place. There's so many incredible people, and so many people who have so much to share to this world. I'm not from here, but Crown Heights is my adopted home, and so I'm so honored that I got to be here and to be here with all of you and help out. And you know, I hope we can all work together to keep going together and make this world a better place, starting with our own little corner of the world. So thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our program. And doesn't it show something that our Attorney General stayed all the way to the end to honor all the awardees? He's really, really a person of this community. We appreciate you so much.
We thank everybody for coming. Look forward to seeing you not only next year, but every day between now and next year. The cooperation that was spoken of so glowingly by so many of the speakers. Congratulations as well, of course, to Rabbi Sperlin, Rabbi Eli Cohen, and to the members of the Crown Heights Community Council. Our thanks to all the honorees. Our thanks to everyone that we need, represented currently in the room by our great and dear friend, Inspector Richie Taylor. Thank you. Be well. Have a great summer. Safe summer.
How you doing? You're okay? You have the greatest time that I ever saw in my life. God is good.